It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, folks, since July 26, 2010, they have saved the county taxpayers over $2.5 million. We're going to learn all about that today on the show. It has to do with our Luzerne County Prison. And joining me on the show today, no stranger to Sam Lesante Show, does a great job, folks. Very nice to always have him on the show. Judge Bill Amessbury is here, along with Joseph Piazza, who is the warden, and Captain Mark Rakovich is here to talk about Luzerne County Prison Act 81, the Day Reporting Center. A lot of things are happening, but the most important thing is what they're doing to save money, but also helping the people who unfortunately are in these prisons. I want to welcome the three of you that come on the show.
Thank you, Sam.
Always nice to see you, Judge.
Sam, it's always a pleasure. I can't count how many times I've had the honor of being here with you. You do a tremendous job. Obviously, we would like to share with you and the citizens of Southern Tier what's going on in Luzerne County, what we're trying to accomplish to reach multiple goals of reducing our prison population, maintaining community safety, and bringing people back into our community as functioning taxpayers.
You know, you've been through a lot. You've seen it as a district magistrate, then when you know as a judge. So you come to the county court with a lot of experience, and able to see who could do what. Unfortunately, people who get in trouble, there has to be some kind of direction. When you looked at the overall, structure of what we have in Luzerne County, the people who are incarcerated, the people who are in front of you, the people you have to send to prison, as a judge, what goes through your mind?
Well, obviously, there's a number of things going through my mind. One is what's the appropriate placement based upon the factual scenario. Number two, what types of intervention are available that would aid an individual? Number three, of course of importance is the cost associated with it. These are difficult times, Sam. You know that. What we're trying to do and have been doing for a number of years is identifying those individuals who are no longer eligible to get back into mental health hospitals because of the Mental Health Procedures Act. As a result, a lot of those individuals have fallen through the crack and over the last 30 years have ended up in the correctional setting. And the warden will be able to tell you as the captain as well. We also have people who have well-defined drug and alcohol problems. And what we are trying to do, in a sense, is to reduce our population by taking people who are not aggressive and move them from a totally structured 24/7 environment, the prison, into a less structured setting 6 days a week called the Day Reporting Center, which is run by our Jen Lombardo. The opportunity to decrease the degree of supervision results in cost savings. And a lot of this came about as a result of the legislature with Act 81. Captain, if you would you speak to Act 81, the legislative changes?
Absolutely. The part that affected us the greatest was they came by and said that all of your sentences now have to be aggregated when they're consecutive to one another. So if an inmate originally received 6 to 12 months and then a consecutive 6 to 12 months, that would make it aggregated 12 to 24-month sentence. Previous to the act, that inmate would be able to stay in the Luzerne County Correctional Facility. We had inmates that were serving a maximum sentence of up to 5 years, less 1 day. So we had inmates that were there for a period of 5 years in some cases. The new law, when it came into effect, said anybody that has a sentence with a maximum of over 5 years, with over 2 years, they will automatically be going to a state correctional facility as long as our capacity is, the inmate population is greater than 110% of our capacity.
Now, with that being said, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
For the county prison, that was a good thing because we were always experiencing crowded conditions. We would, at points in times over the last 10, 15 years, we had in excess of 150 inmates that were serving a state sentence in other words, a maximum of 2 years or greater, at the county correctional facility. You also deal with state parole then, and their caseloads were big. Now that we're able to basically, I don't want to say ship them off the state, but send them to a state correctional facility, our population should have been going downward as far as the number of inmates we have. If we weren't sending everybody to state, I wouldn't want to see what our figures were as far as population. We probably would have been housing people out at $75, $80 a day to other counties a few months ago.
Which warden we've done.
Prior to me becoming the warden at Luzerne County Correctional Facility, we've housed out in excess of 100 inmates to surrounding counties, paying, like Captain Rakovich mentioned, anywhere from $60 to $70, $75 a day, which is a tremendous burden to the taxpayers of Luzerne County. And that was one of the main reasons which led into us looking into the development and participating in this day reporting system. So
now, explain to the viewers the DRC, which is the Day Reporting Center, system. It's a center.
Day Reporting Center is relatively new in Pennsylvania. The first county to become involved in a Day Reporting Center was Franklin County, primarily because of their overcrowding conditions. They did not have enough space to house their inmates, so they looked at an alternative to incarceration. When I became the warden at the prison, we, along with the commissioners, felt that we should also look into it because we were also overcrowded. So the commissioner and I, we took a ride down and we looked at the Day Reporting Center. We got all the details. We put it out for a bid, and we awarded it to a company called BI, Behavioral Interventions, which already has Franklin County and others in neighboring states and throughout the United States. And the concept is to reduce your prison population, reduce the recidivism rate, have a more secure community, and treat people. The whole premise is if you treat people, change their way of thinking, they will act differently. So that's the whole concept behind the Day Reporting Center. It's for nonviolent offenders who would get more benefit by participating in treatment programs than sitting in a jail 24/7 and watching television. The program is very, very strict. It's very program-oriented, and it's harder to do your time in a Day Reporting Center than it is to do 24 hours, 7 days a week in a jail. So we put it out for bid, we awarded it, and the program has been very successful. We currently have 75 inmates in the Day Reporting program, rather than sitting in jail or farming them out to other county facilities at a cost of anywhere from $60 to $75. Hopefully they won't return, and a success rate, and they become contributing members of the community.
What has been a success as far as people, have people been out of the system, Day Reporting Center? Have they graduated or whatever, left?
Yes.
Okay. And how many of them, those who have left, have come back to the system, and a percentage-wise? Has it been successful? That's what I'm saying as far as if 50 left or graduated or whatever the case may be, did 5 come back, or did 45 come back? Or
Some come back. The exact,
well, we understand, yeah.
The exact number I don't have.
Okay. But would you consider this as a success?
Oh, yes, definitely. For everyone in Luzerne County.
Yeah. Okay, folks, I'm talking to Judge Bill Amessbury and the warden of Luzerne County Prison, Joseph Piazza, and Captain Mark Rakovich. Interesting things, folks. Are the programs successful? That's the most important thing, and are we helping these people? Because we all fall into the situation where it's unfortunate. But the judge mentioned something about a docile person versus an aggressive person. We're going to talk about that right after this break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. Remember, 24/7, SSPTV.com. You can watch any of our shows. Thank you for making Local News 13 in the greater Hazleton area your #1 choice for local news over 85,000 people watching Local News 13 every weekday, folks. The numbers are just getting better. The Girls, the #1 women's show in northeastern Pennsylvania, and thank you so much for making the Sam Lesante Show the #1 talk show in northeastern Pennsylvania. My guest today, Judge Bill Amessbury, the warden of Luzerne County Prison, Joseph Piazza, and Captain Mark Rakovich, talking about the prison overcrowding and the different programs they have. When you're talking about sentencing something, putting someone sending someone to prison, you mentioned about the different kinds of people, either docile or aggressive. Explain that to me.
Yeah, first of all, let's go through the process itself. In most instances, an individual is arrested, criminal charges are filed at a magisterial district court level, and at that time a bail can be posted. If the person cannot post a bail, then in many instances he's incarcerated in the correctional facility. At that point in time, he'll file an application seeking representation through the public defender's office in and for Luzerne County. Okay? What they will do then is they'll interview the individual, and then they will file a petition seeking that the bail set at the magisterial court level be reduced. And then they will cite different reasons in support of that belief. At the hearing itself, you will have, of course, the individual who will appear via a two-way simultaneous audio-visual telecast. We actually can contact the prison on TV where the individual sits. His attorney will be next to me, and the district attorney will be on the other side. And what I'm looking for at this point is the nature of the criminal charges that are out there, prior behavior, that type of manifestation, whether or not the individual appears to be amenable to some forms of intervention. For me, intervention takes into consideration characteristics of the individual. I don't feel, in light of my responsibility to balance individual liberty versus community safety, that you just put somebody out on bail because they ask you to. You have to understand something about them, and we use a system over at the prison called the behavior unit. Anytime I'm not sure, I'll ask for an assessment to be done by the behavioral unit as an aid to me in determining what would be the appropriate conditions to use for bail. And I used the DRC extensively because we reduce from 24/7, we reduce it to 6 days a week. We have the benefit of drug testing available on a daily basis. Now, when we talk about testing, Sam, I want to differentiate between qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative means the test will tell us that somebody is on a substance. It will tell us what the substance is. It cannot tell us the quantity of the substance. But the condition usually is, if you test hot, then back you go to jail. And that's explained to them at the time they are released into the DRC. And the process that you accomplish that by is the district attorney will file a petition to revoke bail. And I want these gentlemen to tell you more about it in the context of what's going on in the prison and at the DRC. And I'll tell you more about bail conditions later.
With that being said, okay, Warden Piazza, what we talked about since 2010, this particular program has been effective to save the county over $2.5 million. But savings is important. Most importantly, I'm concerned about the individual. Are they being rehabilitated? Are they going back into society? Are they improving themselves? Because, you know, we're all human beings, and people fall sometimes prey to things. And I like the word that Bill said, the judge said about being docile or aggressive. Some people become victims, and it's unfortunate, and you try to help them. Just during the break, I found out that of 70 graduates, only 4 of them came back. I think that's tremendous. Don't you think so, Mark?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a fabulous thing. So with that being said, when they come into the system, the rehabilitation starts to proceed. Give us that process.
Most of the people that eventually end up in jail, they're a product of their society, they're a product of their family life, they're a product of the people they associate with. And that drives the way they think, the way they act. It's been tested, it's been documented, it's been researched, and this program uses what is called the cognitive behavior therapy, which means a person, if you change the way they think, it will change the way they act. That's the premise of this program, along with gaining skills, marketable skills, such as a GED, job search, writing a resume. A lot of these people did absolutely nothing after high school other than hang out at the local corner with their friends, start doing drugs, start drinking, getting involved in the criminal behavior, and the next thing you know, they're in jail, and it's one cycle. And to break that cycle, we have to break it. We have to help them break it. So the program, this program that we have by behavioral interventions, attacks that. It makes I won't use the inmate, the term inmate, but the individual. It makes him think in a different way, out of the box, the way he should be thinking, and eventually change his behavior. So he breaks away from that cycle that he's in and starts to be a more productive citizen to the area.
My question is it's a judge who puts him into that program. You do not go into the prison and say, okay, we're going to take this person, that person, and put him into a program. Is it directed by you, going into the program?
The judge makes the recommendation on the disposition sheet that the person is eligible for the day reporting center. Okay. Then we do a background on him to make sure that he meets the criteria. Okay. And if he does, he pays a $10 application fee, so he has a vested interest in it. And then from there, we put him into the program.
The process begins to work.
Right.
Okay. Mark, have you, I think this particular rate, 70 graduates and only 4 coming back in the system, I think that's fantastic.
I wish all of our recidivism rate was that. Our average recidivism rate is somewhere around 65%. So people that have been in the prison, released to the streets, they come back in. 65% of our inmates, 4 out of 70 is unbelievable. I'll be out of a job soon if we do that with everybody, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that rehabilitation is so critical.
Absolutely.
The people who have gone to prison, okay, you would think that after a person's in prison 2, 3 years, or 4 years, they would have learned a lesson. Some of those people are not in this program, and some of them just get up and they do the routine, and it's the same routine. It's like, Groundhog Day every day. But the point is, what do you do with these people?
We do have a limited amount of treatment going on inside the jail. We have chaplain services, we have drug and alcohol, we have secondary education, we had a GED program, but because of Governor slashing in our funding, we no longer have that program. We have a little, but not enough. We could use more, and it's been proven. The past Secretary of Corrections, Dr. Beard, who was high on education, he made it mandatory for people to get involved in a GED program in jail and get involved in some type of vocational training or drug and alcohol if that was your problem. And if you did, you can possibly earn a favorable recommendation for parole. If you didn't, you're going to stay in jail longer. It's been proven that the more education you have, the more vocational training, the more opportunities you have to succeed, the better your chances are. And I'm a firm believer of that. And I agree with, I think the judge would also agree with that.
I think I've been for that for many, many, many years, rehabilitating these people, because the hardened criminal, well, there's just not what we can do with them. But there's a lot of people who fall victim, fall prey, that really need the help. Folks, I'm talking to Judge Bill Amessbury, the warden of Luzerne County Prison, Joseph Piazza, and the captain, who is a record captain, Captain Mark Rakovich. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. You're watching The Sam Lesante Show 24/7 on SSPTV.com. My email, sam@SSPTV.com. Appreciate your comments. My guest today, Judge Bill Amessbury from Luzerne County Court, Joseph Piazza, who's the Luzerne County Warden. We had Captain Mark Rakovich. I want to thank him for coming on the Sam Lesante Show. Now, joining us on the show is the director of the DRC program in Luzerne County Prison is Jennifer Lombardo. Jennifer, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show. Judge, putting in perspective is what Jennifer does.
Well, Jennifer, I see Jennifer every Thursday or other days during the week at bail reduction hearings. As I previously indicated, although I'm over at Penn Place, Jennifer and the inmate are located in the correctional setting. They are on TV, and we have a two-way audio-visual telecast. Means simply, I can see and hear them, they can see and hear me. At the time we go through the assessment as to whether or not this individual is appropriate, I ask Jennifer her input as to whether or not she thinks this is a good candidate for the DRC. If she concurs with me, then in my bail conditions, I will incorporate, as if I said it fully forth here in at length, all the rules, practices, and procedures so as to ensure that the individual minds his P's and Q's while in the DRC. Because any one of those violations can then serve as a basis for revocation of bail. I revoke bail, he or she goes right back to the prison.
And your input then on that, Jennifer?
Like the judge said, every Thursday morning we have bail hearings together, and we'll basically assess the individual for the day reporting center based on our criteria that we set forth when we started the program. No violent crimes, anything of that nature, current or in their prior history. Their willingness to want to participate. A big motivator is, getting back into the community, getting home, getting with their families, but becoming productive citizens.
The criteria for these to come in, to get into the system, what is that? What is the criteria?
Nonviolent crimes. So basically, it'll exclude any individual who has a current or prior crime of the sexual nature, aggravated assaults, robberies, things of that nature, arson. Those charges will make you ineligible for the day reporting center.
Now, Warden, are you aware of what's going on in the program, or is this a separate part of the prison system?
Every morning I get a report from the day reporting center about the number of clients that we have in there, and if new clients or people who are scheduled to report there, if they've been contacted or not contacted. And Jen and I are on the phone several times a week discussing cases and what we should do with somebody that may be faltering. Rather than bring them back, should we give them another sanction, and so forth. So it's constant contact.
A lot of work has to be put into this, a lot of background, a lot of making decisions. I would not want to be a judge, nor would I want to be a warden, because it's a difficult decision. Seriously, you really have to. You need a conscience. You need a lot of information, and you have to hopefully pray that God gives you the power to make the right decision. How long have you been a director, Jennifer?
The 2 years that we've been open. Prior to that, I worked at the correctional facility as a treatment coordinator since 2002. Well,
congratulations to you and your staff, because you're doing a great job. Seriously, when you look at this, 70 graduates and 4 coming back in the system, and this, of course the savings. Yes, I think savings is important, but I'm always concerned about the individual. Are we rehabilitating people to go back into society, as you said, changing the mindset? And that's where I think it's important to stay on top. There's a lot of things, and a good judge always brings me up to date of what's going on. I really appreciate it, Bill, because inform the people. There's a lot of people that do not know what's happening. Just to have a minute left, what does a warden do?
Nothing.
Wait a minute now. The council president is listening to this. No, what does a warden do?
I'm in charge of the overall operation, the entire operation of the prison. From the time the inmate gets into the facility until the time he leaves, we're in charge of his care, custody, and control, his the medical issues that they come in with. We have to attend to those. Programming, rehabilitation of the facility. The facility is very old. We have breakdowns every day. We have to make sure it's safe and secure, but primarily to make sure that the community is safe, that no one gets out of the jail without earning their way out, and making sure that the community is safe.
It's a reason why I ask is when people hear about a warden and other what you see on TV, it's a challenge, as any job is. Jennifer, thanks for coming on the show. Mark, thanks for coming. It's always nice to see you. Warden, it's a pleasure meeting you, and Bill, it's always a pleasure seeing you.
Sam, it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Keep me informed, okay?
Will do, buddy.
Folks, the Sam Lesante Show, seen 24/7. Tell your friends. Just go to our website, hit shows, and all our shows are archived. Once again, I really appreciate the comments and also For all our viewers in the Service Selected Cablevision area, up here in Greater Hazleton area, now almost all of Schuylkill County, we appreciate you making our news number one at over 80,000 people watching local television news. It's very gratifying to know that we're doing that job and giving you the service. We'll see you next time.